Scott here for another Headcanon video, and today I want to talk to you about this topic that I was thinking about as I was doing research for a future comic misconceptions video, and it's this idea that, as you probably read by the title, Superman may have been inevitable. So what I mean by this is not, a real Superman in real life, but rather that when Siegel and Shuster were creating Superman, had they not been around to create Superman, somebody else would have anyway. And I know that this might seem really weird to think about, but let me explain my reasoning here. So in the 1920s, there was a publication done by William F. Ogburn and Dorothy Thomas. They did research into famous inventions and discoveries and found that in almost all cases, there was more than one person working independently of one another on the same idea at around the exact same time as well. So here are some examples, just so you know I'm not a crazy person. So 5 different people invented the steamboat, 6 different people invented the thermometer, and 9 different people invented the telescope. And this wasn't just limited to inventions either. Anything from different fields like mathematics or biology, psychology, physics, astronomy, medicine, they all show that when someone has a breakthrough, probably a handful of others already had or will independently have that same breakthrough around the same time. Exceptions to this are, of course, things that were invented or discovered by complete accident. So this kind of makes me wonder, and I hope it makes you wonder as well, that if any of these people died before they invented or discovered whatever it is that they invented or discovered, would it even matter? Would the invention or discovery just be made by somebody else around the same time anyway? Ogburn and Thomas seem to argue that, yeah, that's exactly what would happen. So this made me think about Siegel and Shuster, who are the creators behind Superman. And if they hadn't come up with the idea for the character, would somebody else have around the same time anyway? I mean, I'm not talking literally the exact same as Superman. He maybe wouldn't be called Clark Kent, maybe Lois Lane wouldn't be a character, little things like that, sure. But like the idea of a Superman-like character, is that inevitable? Is that something that would have happened to help jumpstart the superhero comic book? I don't know. And this line of thinking could be applied to really any other comic book character as well, not just Superman. So think about if Stan Lee and Jack Kirby never got into the comic book business. Would all the characters that they had created still be characters today? Maybe not Marvel characters, maybe owned by different publishers and have obviously slight variations and tweaks and stuff, but we'd still get like a Fantastic Four type team and like Iron Man and Hulk and all that stuff, but just it wasn't created by them. It was created by different people independently from one another. I don't know, I like this idea that the universe kind of wants these characters to exist, much in the same way that the universe seems to want all these inventions and discoveries to exist as well. Now, I know that this topic sounds kind of really, really odd, and you could easily brush it off by saying, Scott, go home, you're being ridiculous. But I encourage you to check out some of the links that I'll put in the description below, especially the paper by Ogburn and Thomas. There's some really interesting and eye-opening stuff in there about how they explain the concept of multiple discoveries and multiple inventions and stuff like that. And I think a lot of that stuff could apply to not just things in the real world, but like, fictional characters and everything like that. So I don't know. I think there's something here though, and I choose Superman as kind of like the big point of it all because with a lot of these discoveries and inventions, it usually revolves around something big and groundbreaking, and I think Superman fits that bill in regards to superhero comics as being the character that really jump-started the whole, superhero comic revolution, I guess if you want to call it that. So maybe a lot of lesser characters, maybe a lot of minor characters, all these B villains and whatever, all this people that we forgot over time, maybe they weren't inevitable, but maybe the big ones were. Maybe Superman and Batman and Spider-Man, maybe they were all inevitable in some way or the other, but other characters like all the forgettable X-Men that just kind of we brush off and we forget because they have really weird powers, maybe they're not so inevitable. But I'd love to know your thoughts about all this. Was Superman inevitable? Was Batman inevitable? Was any other character inevitable? Or was all this just completely coincidental? And if Siegel and Shuster never got into the business, then we would be somewhere completely different today. Maybe those two ideas aren't mutually exclusive, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Once again, I'm Scott, and I will see you guys next time for another video of some kind. See ya.